Today we're going to look at demographics, breakdowns of the population. And one of the key breakdowns that we look at is called an age structure pyramid. What does a population pyramid show you? Shows you the demographics of gender and age. And what we're looking at here is some old data, 1955. At the bottom, what you see is the start of the baby boomers after World War II. Economy picked up, soldiers came home. What interests me more than the baby boomers is what's happening right at the top. If you look at our life expectancy, it was in the low 70s. So by the time we get up to 80, there's not very many people and very thin little peak to our pyramid. Pretty even too, males and females, 80, 70, 60, really no difference in the genders there. Now, if we advance this 30 years or so, 1985, and we see the boomers or the working class, and look what happened right at the top. Females are outliving males by a good portion. And both of them grew. Way more 80s and 70s. I'm going to go back and forth so you can see it. See that? Skinny, fat. A huge growth in our older population. And that's because between the 50s and the 80s, we had made a lot of advancements in medicine in those 30 years. And we're keeping people alive longer. Let's go another 30 years. 2015, the boomers are becoming senior citizens. They're retiring from the workforce. And you can see our population is significantly leveled off following their generation. Families are getting smaller. Look what happened to the top. Wow, females are still dominating in life expectancy, but look how fat these are getting again. I'll go, there's 1985, 2015, wow. Watch them all together. Okay, now we can use demographics to predict our future pyramid based on how many should die, how many should move up. And so by 2035, we're gonna have a whole bunch of boomers who need major care in their elderly years. There's another great site where you can actually put in this data and animate it. So here's one I made a few years back. I haven't updated it recently, but you can, I just love watching the boomers. Watch the boomers bulge out and rise up to the top. Sometimes I like to throw on the population clock and this at the same time. Sit there for hours and watch that. Mesmerizing. So much of population growth is directly tied to how developed a nation is in terms of socioeconomic, all of its demographics. So you can see the less developed countries, rapid growth, places in Africa, the Middle East still, they have really fat bottoms to their pyramid. They're having lots of babies still and not as good healthcare and education. And so they really peter out at the top of their pyramid. So a traditional pyramid shape represents rapid growth and developing nations. When that pyramid starts to become more stout, more column shape, that really represents a slower growth. And the United States is listed here, but really we're moving into this next one, the third one. So the second and third, not a whole lot different, but kind of more of a column shaped. And that's what we see in the United States underneath the boomers, mostly a column. So very steady growth, but it's being canceled out by the death rate. And we're really starting to see in some places, especially Europe, we're seeing negative growth, an inverted pyramid, skinny at the bottom, fatter at the top. And in terms of world population growth, that becomes our goal. Our goal is to actually slow down enough that instead of climbing up to 12 billion, 13 billion, 14 billion people, we could actually go from 12 back to 11, maybe even back to 10 eventually, something more reasonable, if enough countries get to this stage. Very developed nations. So if we were going to try to predict the future, this is what the numbers show. Remember, geologically, in terms of evolution, the Americas are really pretty separated. We've got two huge oceans on both sides of us. Nothing's connected. Australia is really the same. And so our population growth, because we're developed, we expect it to go down by 2100, almost no growth. Same thing in Australia, Latin America. It's Africa that we expect the biggest growth. They're going to change the most. Now, Asia makes up most of the population, but you can see they're mostly going to go down, or have been going down, and will continue to go down. Tomorrow we'll get into some of those reasons why. They still are going to make up half the world's population, but they're not growing exponentially like the undeveloped nations in Africa. Europe's pretty dramatic, right? They hit a big peak around 1900, and they've been steadily dropping and will continue to drop. On Canvas, I have posted some practice questions, a whole bunch of old AP questions. The more of those you do, the better you're going to do in May. You have to trust me on that. So between now and Thursday, I would love for you to look at that document, go under current lessons, and try a couple problems out. I think you're going to be pleased. You're going to say, oh my gosh, this isn't so bad. We got this. I think you're going to do pretty well on it if you actually buckle down and try them. On Thursday, which is going to be an all Canvas day, no Zoom, I will post the answers. You have until Thursday to try them, and then I'll share the answer key with you for the practice questions.